Hey guys, Tim with Two Feathered Survival. Coming to you today from my backyard. We've got kind of a very rainy, somewhat misty, blustery day here in the sunny south. Haven't really had a chance to get much of the sun in the sunny south lately, but here we are at any rate. I'm going to talk to you real quick about magnesium bar or stick fire starters. I see a lot of people put them in their kits, and I also see a lot of people utilizing that item wrong. So we're going to just take a couple minutes today and talk about the magnesium striker bars. Stay with me. Alright guys, so what I've got here, I've got kind of my, this is something I keep inside my backpack. It's got some basic items of survival in it. It's kind of a grab and go, or it's something I could just take with me, put it on my belt if I'm going to do a quick day hike after I've established camp someplace. But I've got some tinder here, I've got some small sticks, got some dried grass. They're marginally wet, which is where the magnesium bar is going to really come into its own with that. I've got some pine needles here, I've got a pine cone, and I have a dry piece of paper. Well, not very dry anymore, it's a little bit wet now. Just to kind of show you guys what you should be looking for with the magnesium striker. So, inside the kit here, like I said, I've got kind of just a Mod Podge of a lot of different things. Open that up. So I've got cordage, some stakes. Always keep with me dry tinder. You never ever know when you might need some dry tinder. Small pocket style knife, a few traps. Got a kit here where I can actually make char with, and I keep some other fire lighting materials in there. Got a carving knife, another big spool of cordage. This is a tarred bank line, and down in here is where I keep most of my fire lighting items. So in here I've got a Coleman magnesium bar, and I've had this bar for a long time. So I can close this back up so I don't lose this. Like I said, you want to always have all your tinder materials readily available right by where you're going to make your fire. We want to start with something small. Flash tinders work great. Could be birch bark, which we've spoken about in another video. Could be things like dried grass. But then we want to work up to very small twigs, to something about pencil sized, to something a little bit larger, and on up to our main sources of fuel. Most people go wrong where they then have their striker bar. They get a good pile of magnesium shavings ready, and they utilize the striker bar, and then they don't have all their other tinders ready to go. So that's why this stuff is very important. I've got a small, I don't want to call it a razor blade. It's just a metal bar, really, what it is. It's got sawtooth on one side, kind of a flat 90-degree spine, which we've talked about before, making that 90-degree spine on your knife. You could, if this is all I had, utilize some sort of a folding knife. Now, where I see a lot of things go wrong with this, people like to use the blade edge of that. You should be using the back edge, the 90-degree spine, if I'm going to use a knife and not the bar that comes with it, the steel piece of rod that comes with it. So, see, we got some wind here today. I fold up my paper a little bit. I could use anything for this. So all I want to do is start trying to get a pile of shavings. You see how lightweight this material is this really is just kind of going all over right now. A little bit of that is fine. If it's blowing over too much, then I'd have to probably go to some other type of method, or get some place that I can really work at the bar here. But notice I'm not moving the bar, I'm moving it a little bit back and forth just to work with that 90-degree spine. And I'm just taking this and gently pressing down the length of that magnesium bar. When I do that, I'm going to wind up with a pile of shavings, kind of like what I have here. Move all those into a pile. Dime size is usually pretty good. And again, I'm going to take my striker bar. I'm going to place my striker, whatever that is, my striker locked in a position, and I'm going to take my bar and pull the bar up. Hopefully that'll catch the magnesium. That's kind of the idea behind this. Now, you see that goes off pretty quick. What I should do is, as soon as I start that, have all this tinder material here absolutely ready to go. I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to do this again. That way you can see a closer view on all of this. Alright, move this out of the way. I'm going to kind of do a second run here. Again, I'm going to just kind of fold up the paper some. Let that stop some of the wind from blowing across. And I'm just going to lock the bar onto my surface here. I'm just gently utilizing the edge of the scraper, coming down the length of the magnesium bar here. So I'm just kind of pressing slightly down like this. Doesn't take a lot of pressure. The reason why you don't want a lot of pressure is if, let's say this was an exposed blade, if I'm really trying to force this, number one, magnesium in its state that it is on the bar is very soft. So if I've got a live blade that I'm doing this with, and for whatever reason I slip, and then I cut a finger, or cut a hand, or worse, or cut a leg if I've got a leg in the way, that mechanical injury is not something that I want to now deal with out in a wilderness environment. So, doesn't take a lot of pressure, just kind of moving this back and forth. Slow is best. Just making that pile of those shavings. The reason why the shavings are so important is they burn at such a high temperature. Once magnesium is started, there's enough of it, sometimes even trying to put it out with water is not going to happen. It actually has a larger reaction that way. The reason why I want to go slow, if I've taken time to gather a bunch of materials and I really need to have a fire, I want to go slow with this process to make sure that I'm guaranteed that I can get a fire going. I don't want to put a lot of energy into something when I already may be tired, cold, or wet, when I don't do properly what I should do. Alright. Got all my magnesium there. I'm going to bring some tinder in here out of my bag of tricks. Got my other tinder here ready to go as well. And we're going to go ahead and see what we get here. Again, with the striker bar, I don't want to take my striker and do this. Especially again, if I've got a knife, I could slip, could have a mechanical injury. I don't want any of that. So I'm going to lock my hand into place, get that angle of the bar kind of working, and simply pull the striker back. And that way I'm not going this way and hitting my pile of magnesium shavings. I'm kind of just getting the sparks to fall into that pile. Once I have that, I want to get my other tinders right in there, get them close, get them going. Bringing in my pine needles, dry grass, whatever else it is that I have. Get those in there. And now I've got something that I can work with as a sustainable fire. Pine needles work great. They've got a lot of fuels in them. Dry grasses are always a good idea. And that kind of gets us into at least some sort of a fire situation. Alright. Still kind of burning. I'll let that kind of cook here for a minute. At any rate, guys, these fire strikers, they'll last you a lifetime. I've had this one for a long time. As long as you keep them dry so I don't ruin the flint part of the striker, well then these are a great item to have in your kit or even in a pocket, but I have to know how to utilize these. I have to then fall back on my other fire lighting abilities. So this is a Coleman one. Again, this is Tim with Two Feathers Survival. Hope you have all enjoyed today's quick video, and I look forward to seeing you again here in the very near future. Have a great day, guys.